Hi, Mrs. Torzilla here, and we're going to work on the practice to get you ready for your relearning. Okay, first question. What is the solution to the system below? To find a solution to the system, if it's graphs for you, you just have to see where they intersect. So that intersection point, you just have to say that ordered pair. The x goes first. The x is on the horizontal axis, and the y is on the vertical axis. So you start with the x, which is positive 5, and the y is negative 2. So you just write your ordered pair as 5, comma, negative 2. And that's all you do for the first question. All right, let's move on to question 2. Juan's cell phone company charges $35 a month for phone service plus 50 cents for each text message. How many messages does Juan send in a month if his bill was $52? Okay, in order to solve this, we need to create an equation based on Juan's situation, and then we're going to solve it. So first, we start with what we know. His phone company charges $35 a month plus 50 cents per text message. And we want to know his monthly bill was $52. So we want to know how many messages did he send to get a bill of $52. So I like to have my variable first. I'm going to rewrite this with 0.50 m plus 35 is equal to 52. Now we just need to solve for x. So we just do our normal solving steps. We need to get our variable term by itself. In this case, we have an m actually, not an x. So we have 35. So we're going to subtract 35 from both sides. We bring down the 0.50 m. On the right, we actually need to subtract those two numbers. 52 minus 35, which is 17. Then our last step is to get the m by itself to isolate it. So we divide both sides by, I wrote this incorrectly, which is 0.50 m. 0.50, 0.50. So that gives us the answer for m, which is 17 divided by 0.50, which is 34. So that means Juan sent 34 text messages. And that's all you do for question 2. Let's move on to question 3. Okay, question 3. Interpret both the x and the y intercepts in the relationship shown in the graph below. The graph shown below represents the number of tickets that a theater must sell in order to generate $350 in revenue from ticket sales. So any combination of these numbers on the line means you make $350. So if we're right here, that means 40 adult tickets and 60 children tickets will give me a revenue of $350. So we just need to interpret what does the x-intercept and the y-intercept represent. So step 1 is to identify what the x and the y represent in this problem. So let's go ahead and go to our paper. The x-axis, it is stated that those are adult tickets. The y-axis, it is stated that that is children's tickets. So now we have the x-intercept of 70,0. So in the context of this problem, that means that we have sold 70 adult tickets and 0 children's tickets. That's what the x-intercept represents in this problem. Now let's talk about the y-intercept. The y-intercept, the x is 0 and the y is 140. So that means we've sold 0 adult tickets and 140 child's tickets or children's tickets. And that's all you have to do is interpret what those X and Y intercepts mean in the context of the problem. All right, let's move on to question 4. Not really a question. All right, so I'm going to explain exponential growth and decay from a graph. So on your relearning, you have to pick if a graph is exponential growth or decay. This is what you're looking for. It doesn't matter where it is on the graph. You're looking for the shape of the graph to be going from left to right, increasing. So to be exponential is going to be like a J shape, and then it's going to shoot upwards. So that's exponential growth. That's what you're looking for. It doesn't matter where it is located on the coordinate plane. It just needs to look like that shape. That is growth. The other option is exponential decay. So from left to right, it's going to start, it can start anywhere, it doesn't matter, but then it's going to fall down. It's eventually going to go down. And that's your decay. So your task is to identify if something is growth or decay by looking at a graph. Okay, let's move on to question 5. The original value of a painting is $1,400, and the value increases by 9% each year. Write an exponential growth function to model the situation. Define the value of the painting in 25 years. All right, so exponential growth is y is equal to a b to the x power. So we just need to fill in the things we know. A is your initial value, so what the original value was. That is told to us. That is 1,400. Our B is our growth or decay. And in this case, it's growth. They tell us it's 9%. So we're going to do 1 plus 0.09. And that is going to be to the x power. And it tells us we want to know the value after 25 years. So your x is your years. So we have y equals 1400, 1 plus 0.09 to the 25th power. This is where you can use your EOC calculator to get your answer. So let's go ahead and do that. So remember, in our EOC calculator, we can't do the y equals, so we have to do everything after it. So we do 1400, 1 plus 0.09 to the x power. In this case, is 25. Okay, and now we have our answer over here. We're talking about money, so we round to the nearest cent, which will be $12,072.31. And that's it. On yours, on your relearning question, it will be already given to you, the equation. You just have to substitute the number given. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so we're on number 6. Given the equation, y equals 2x squared minus 12x plus 15, we are supposed to find the vertex. Okay, to find the vertex, you can graph it and then identify the vertex, or we can use the vertex formula. So first, to get the x value of the vertex, the formula is x equals the opposite of b over 2 times a. So remember our a, b, and c. A goes with x squared, b goes with x, and c is your constant. So in this, and again, we can use our EOC calculator, do the opposite of b. So that minus in parentheses always stays. Our b, you take the sign with it, so it's negative 12 over 2 times a. Again, this can be put into our EOC calculator to help us solve this. So let's go ahead and do that. So we need a fraction On top, we have negative parenthesis. Our b is negative 12. Close the parenthesis. On the bottom, we have 2 parentheses 2. So that is 3. Go back to our paper. So the x value of this problem is 3. So remember, to have a vertex, you need the x and the y. We have the x of 3. Now we're looking for the y. We can find the y. It says y equals all of this. So all we need to do is replace the x's with our 3, and we get the value of y. So y equals 2 parentheses 3 squared minus 12 parentheses 3 plus 15. We just need to put this into our EOC calculator, and we'll get the value of y. So let's go ahead and do that. 2 parentheses 3 squared minus 12 parentheses 3 plus 15. All right, that calculator gives us negative 3. Let's go back to our paper. So our x is 3 and our y is negative 3. So our ordered pair is 3, negative 3. That's it. Let's move on to the next question. Ken starts his own lawn mowing business. He initially spends $180 on a new lawnmower. Lawnmower, 180. For each yard he mows, he receives $20 and spends $4 on gas. How many yards must Chen mow to break even? Okay, so he already has this expense of $180, right? So we're trying to break even. So that means we want to be equal to 180. So he does earn money to cut lawns. He gets $20 per lawn. But he also has to spend money to cut the lawn. So for each lawn he mows, he has to spend $4 on gas. That's for each lawn. Like $4 of gas won't last you all day. So it's for each lawn. So now we just need to figure out how many lawns does he need to mow in order to basically make enough money to pay for the gas and for him to afford this new lawnmower he bought. So step 1 is to combine our like terms. We have 20x minus 4x, which is 16x is equal to 180. And then we divide both sides by 16 to see how many lawns he needs to mow. So 180 divided by 16 is 11.25. We can't mow 0.25 of a lawn, so we have to go up. So he needs to mow 12 lawns. That's it. All right, question 8. How to tell if a table is linear, quadratic, or exponential. So if you have a table, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. To tell if it's linear, this increase will be consistent. So this increase is plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. That's how we know it's linear, that this is consistent. It also works in the opposite way, being it decreasing. So for example, let's do 4, 2, 0, negative 2. So this is going down by 2. As long as this number is consistent, then it's linear. So how do we tell something is quadratic? Let me give an example. So we have negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2. And we have 0, negative 4, negative 6, negative 6, negative 4. Okay, so We always check to see if it's linear first. So we find our difference. So to go 0 to -4, that's -4. -4 to -6 is -2. -6 to -6 is 0. And then -6 to -4 is +2. These are not consistent, so not linear. To see if it is quadratic, we check the double difference. That means we go another layer. -4 to -2 is +2. -2 to 0 is +2. 0 to 2 is +2. The double difference is consistent, so that shows us that it is quadratic. So that's how we tell something is quadratic. Next is exponential. Okay, to tell if something is exponential, they have a common ratio. So that means when you divide these numbers, they will be the same. So what I mean by that, we do bottom to top, 56 divided by 28, 28 divided by 14, 14 divided by 7. They all should give the answer of 2. The only one I need to check is 56 and 28. So when you divide and they're all the same, that means it is exponential. And then our last example is how to create a linear equation from a graph. So all you need is the slope and the y-intercept. I'm just going to draw a rough graph really quick. Notice it from left to right is going down, so I know this is a negative line. So our equation is always y equals mx plus b. You're only changing the m and the b. Your b is your y-intercept. That's where it crosses the y-axis. So this is at 0, 3. So your b is 3. And then next is counting your slope. Your m is your slope. That's your rise over run. So we start at whatever point you want, doesn't matter. I start at the left, work my way down, 1, 2, 3. So my rise is 3, but since I went down, it's -3. And then run, 1, 2, 3, which is 3. If you can divide it, do that. So that's -1. So your equation is y equals -1x plus 3. Typically, we don't write the -1, so you write it as y equals -x plus 3. Either way, the answer is correct. Okay, good luck on your relearning.